In this video, we're going to look at choosing when to use the law of sines and when to use the law of cosines. And before we do that, I just want to bring your attention to this this little table down here. These little three-letter abbreviations, those sort of stand for how the information of the triangle is given to you. So AAS stands for angle, angle, side. That would mean that you get information in a triangle about two of the angles that are next to each other. I guess all angles are next to each other. But what I mean is, like, let's say you got information on angle A and angle B. For it to be an angle, angle, side situation, that would mean that you'd have also gotten information about either side A, because then you'd be given an angle, and then a side, or side B, because you'd be given angle B, angle A, and then side B. The point is, the side you're giving was not in between the two angles you're given. That would have been the ASA case. So the ASA case here would be if you were given information in this way, two angles and then the side in between. So that's what these all stand for, and some people like to think of, they kind of like to think of the orientations in order to figure out when to use law of sines and law of cosines, and that's fine. I have my own way of thinking about it, and it's a little bit more based on this setup here. And my rule is simple. If you're given three pieces of information about the triangle, and you're given all the information on any one letter, then you use the law of sines. So let's go back to let's look at these two cases: angle, angle, side, and angle, side, angle. That would mean you were given, let's say, for instance, you're given angle A, angle B, and side A. So angle A, angle B, and side A. See how we have a full set of information for A? That means you can use the law of sines to get everything you want in the triangle. Because if you look at the proportion, sine A over A, you have all that information. So that this is a number now we can compute. And then if you're solving for side B, you'd use the second piece here, sine of B, which you know, over B. The other thing to note is whenever you're given two angles, you know the third angle, even though it's not stated, because all the angles in the triangle add up to 180. So we actually now do know that angle too. And so now we can use the law of sines to get everything. And likewise, if you're given information, two angles and the side in between, so like angle A, angle B, and then side C. Again, it doesn't look like we have all the information for one letter, but we really do, because the angles in the triangle add up to 180, so we really do know angle C. So the point is, whenever you are given two angles, whenever you're given two angles and a side, you use the law of sines. It's as easy as that. What about the case when you're given a side, an angle, and a side? So that would mean you're given a side, let's say this angle, and then another side. So in our picture over here, in our setup, we'd be given side C, angle B, and side A. Well, notice I don't have one full set of information for A, for B, or C, and I can't even recover it. I mean, there's no way to find out these other two angles without using a formula. So this would be a situation where I use the law of cosines. Okay, and if you look down here, it makes sense because we know, which version would we use? Well, we'd use the one that has angle B in it because we know that. So we know angle B, we know A and C, so we know this whole right side of the equation. We just don't know B. All right, so that would be a law of cosines case. And likewise, if you're given information about just the sides, again, you can't use the law of sines because, so again, let's just say we're given A, A, B, and C as sides. You can't use the law of sines because we don't have one full set of information. So if we use the law of sines, we'd have two unknowns to solve for, and that wouldn't help us. But you can use the law of cosines because you know everything in this in this formula except for the angle at the end, which you could solve for. So that would be a law of cosine situation. This situation here deserves special attention, and we're going to give it special attention in class or in another video. But just note that if you're given two sides and an angle situated such that you're given it like this, a side, another side, and then the angle like that. So in this case, what is it? C, C, A, and angle C. We do have one full set of information here. So you can use the law of sines for that. It turns out you can use the law of cosines for this too. We can observe why maybe in another video, but I'm going to put it in parentheses because I tend not to do it that way, although you can. You can use both, but just note, we have one full set of information for this letter. We can use the law of sines. An angle, 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 it's here, but we can't determine all of the information from a triangle if we're just given the angles, because, I mean, for a simple example, think of like an equilateral triangle. If I just tell you that your triangle is equilateral, that means that all the angles are 60 degrees, but we know nothing about what the sides could be. I mean, they could all be 10 feet, they could all be 2 inches. So we can't solve the triangle when we're just given information about angles. So neither of these apply. So hopefully that was a good overview of when to use the law of sines and when to use the law of cosines. Although you should have stopped me because I just noticed I should have checked that box there. So sorry about that error. I don't refer so much to the table, I refer to my setup. If I know one full letter, I use the law of sines.